bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of VeriTalks. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. I am James. This is Scott, Jordan, Andrew, Jeff, and Jeff's little Lucy.
Little Lucy
has joined us today. And we are just so excited that you all have joined us for this conversation. This is going to be a fun one that you are not going to miss. So Andrew, tell everyone who we're talking to today.
Yes, a man that needs no introduction. We got the opportunity to interview Mark Lowry.
Yes.
Super fun, and you know, he's a member of the Gaither vocal band. I think he was one of the longest standing members of the group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He is, you know, he wrote a little ditty called "Mary Did You Know" back in the day that did okay, and so he's an amazing person, an incredible songwriter. He's absolutely hilarious. And I know you guys are going to be super stoked to watch this interview with Mark Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I believe this one is Jeff and Scott who sat down virtually with Mark. So we hope you guys enjoy.
You know, I have to say it's really cool for me to get to interview you because I don't know that I would be doing what I'm doing today if it weren't for you, Guy, David, and Bill.
Yeah.
Because for me, as a middle schooler, I first discovered the vocal band. I first saw my first homecoming DVD, my first vocal band video, and I was enamored immediately. I love the harmony. I love the blend. I love the moments that y'all would create throughout the night. Not even just the musical moments, but the moments that just captured the audience, the riff between you and Bill. And then on the videos, there would be the little side interviews that it would go over. An interview, Bill would be talking about theory and arrangement, and it was a different world that I knew nothing about, and I was so fascinated by it. But just the heart that you put into it, really, I think that ultimately is
and it's
what
all
brought me
true.
to what I'm doing
you know,
today.
the stuff that was funny is just I was blatantly honest that I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, and Bill, I'd never sung in a group before.
Mm-hmm.
That group, I mean, what a group to start with.
My goodness.
Right.
You know, I'd never even dreamed and never had any desire to be in a group.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always been alone, and I was comfortable being alone on the stage because I didn't have to ask permission from the other person. You know, what can we do tonight? And I really learned a lot from Bill, but what I learned most is almost he gave me permission to have ADD. He's got it too.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, I have no idea. I know what the first song's going to be every night, and I know what the last song's going to be. But it's an ADHD rabbit trail getting to it.
Oh, man.
And it is a fun ride for me, too.
Yeah.
Because, and I used to write down a program or, you know, try to be and worry over it and think about it and pray about it. God help us. And then I'd get out there and something would take me in another direction in the middle of, you know, and so I thought, why bother with that? But that's years of stories of, you know, I have like filing cabinets of stories that I can draw on, you know, if nothing's working. But I love to get out there and just kind of like you know, just talk about what happened today or what's going on right now, or, you know, and sometimes that works. And then when it doesn't, you reach up there and grab one of those stories, you know, Miss Barth, or, you know, Mama Had Enough, or one of those mama stories. They always work, you know.
Yeah.
So, plus I think, let me just say this about humor. I've never considered myself a comedian. I'm a storyteller.
For sure.
And the safety of that is, if nobody laughs, I've still told my story. because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's hopefully peppered with a lot of humor
Yeah.
all the way through it. But if they don't laugh at all, big deal.
Yeah.
I pretend I didn't mean them to.
Yeah.
I remember the first video that I ever saw, 1988, of you. I think, was that your first live comedy video that you ever did?
Was it a black and white cover?
I don't know. I can't remember the cover. All I know is I was in Boise, Idaho. My aunt and uncle said, "You've got to watch this video," because they knew that I was interested in music and entertainment and maybe want to do something like this. So they showed me, and I had always followed the Gaither Vocal Band, but to be honest, it wasn't until I saw that first live DVD that you did, or live video that you did. And
was it mostly talking?
Yeah, and it was just
okay. There's one
so interesting to me. Just your stories. You were just talking to us, but it was so funny. I literally could not stop laughing for days, and I just thought, this guy is something special and unique, and you've always kind of been that way. So,
well, thank you.
I wanted to know from you, how did that happen for you? Because I know you said you started singing by yourself. You were by yourself, mostly doing solo work, growing up singing. How did you morph into more of the storytelling and just becoming known as a comedian, as somebody that was funny?
It's been a process, because in 1977, what were you boys doing in 1977?
I was 3.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
In 1977, I was at Liberty Baptist College, and I was studying business, and the Lord really spoke to me and called me into the music ministry, and I thought, oh dear Lord, because I was studying. I didn't want to have to learn to read music. I thought that would be the most horrific thing to have to do, because my brother had called home crying over music theory. You know, he was a year older than me, and he'd call home from college crying about music theory. And I thought, well, I can't. But the Lord spoke to me and said, why won't you do what I want you to do? And I said, and believe it or not, for a Baptist to say God spoke to him, I'm telling you, God spoke to me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only happened a few times, and this was one of the first. But looking back, I think he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, really looking back, it has really worked out. Some really eternal things have happened because I think he called me. And what was your question?
ADD right there. No, I was just like, I love the fact that you have always, first of all, you've always been a great singer, but the fact that you found a way to
the humor. Yeah. Okay. Well, what happened was
engaging to so many people.
What happened was I realized early on that my voice was, I mean, I'll give it credit. It's good. I think it's gotten better with age, whatever. I'm all for that. I'm not a big fan. As far as like, would I buy my vocal records? Probably not. But I always ask myself, when I hear anybody, would I buy their CD? That's my litmus test, Well, but I'm very happy with what God's given. But I noticed that they set up on the edge of their seats when I start talking. I'd be in those independent, fundamental, Bible-believing, Bible-banging Baptist churches that I grew up in, where they wouldn't clap because that's giving glory to men.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shout because they're afraid someone might think they're doing it in another language. But they would laugh.
Yeah.
And I knew they were listening.
That's good.
And so I would laugh. I'd put in it and I'd laugh, and I'd set them up, and then I'd sing a song which would drive the point home, hopefully. So I found out it was a tool, and the songs became less and less part of the evening. and more like exclamation points to the story.
Wow.
Wow.
That's good.
So that's the way it just kind of evolved that way.
You know, I think the thing about the stories you tell and the way you tell them that is so engaging. And I know what brings me into those stories is the fact that you seem to have a really curious personality. That you don't want to just take things at face value. You want to dig in and see something that somebody else may not have seen.
Oh, yeah.
If the whole world is looking at something from one side, you want to walk around to this side to see what's
Oh,
happening.
yes.
And so when you start telling the story, everybody else gets that additional insight.
Yeah, don't you want, that's what songs do.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We that write gospel songs, which are the only kind I care to write.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other message that has won my heart like that one of Jesus has,
Mm-hmm.
But you're trying to tell it from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, come here, look at the cross from here, and then look at his life from here. And it's just, that's what a song does. A great song does. It lets you see something you never thought of before. I love a song that makes me go, almost takes my breath away. And then I go, oh, I wish I'd have thought of that.
We've all said the same thing because we all thought, I wish I would have thought of how to write Mary, Did You Know?
Oh,
because that's the same way. You came from that perspective.
Yeah, it's a fresh perspective.
Yeah. And that was, man, what a gift that was from God in so many different ways. And yes, financially it is, that's what everybody thinks right off the bat. They call my house the house that Mary built. But oh, if God were to tell me, if God were to put me on his knee and say, you could write any song ever, which one would you like to write? It would have been that one.
Wow.
Because I believe it. I believe all of that.
Yeah.
And Buddy Green, oh Lord, it was just a poem till he got a hold of it.
How long did that poem exist till he started?
1984 to 1991.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sent it out as a Christmas card one year, right after I'd written it. And Babby Mason tried to write the music, or she did write music. I can still remember it. And I lived with it for a while, but it just, and it just wasn't right. I mean, the lyric and the music must marry,
Yeah.
And then Buddy came up with that da 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 da. I remember what I was wearing when he called me. And in my home, I was living in Ackworth, Georgia, and I was on the phone with him, and he had his guitar and played it, and I said yes. That was it. And then I immediately started trying to get Michael English to record it. I was traveling with him in the Gaither vocal band, and I played him the tape of Buddy. I played him the tape of Buddy singing it with his guitar. It's just a demo.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael couldn't get past the country twang of Buddy, right? And the country, because he thought it sounded like a country song, and it did probably. Until Brown Bannister got a hold of it. And I'll tell you how that happened, if you care to know.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've got this song, Buddy's got this beautiful melody. Brown Bannister comes over to Chattanooga where we're doing a concert. I corner him and I say, I've got a song Michael English needs to record. And he kind of backs up and I start quoting the lyric because I didn't know the melody yet. I just said, Mary, did you know that your baby boy will one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy? And I start quoting this lyric to him. And when I get to the child that you delivered will soon deliver you, he fell back against his car, and I just kept going, Mary, did you know that your baby? And I just kept quoting it. And when you kiss your little baby, you've kissed the face of God. He fell back again. And so I knew I had him. you know. And then when he heard the melody,
Yeah.
he had to take it out of that country twang,
Right.
put it into that contemporary Christian, really debut of the song. Michael English's cut is probably the definitive cut of this song. I mean, more people have copied that arrangement than, you know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
any other arrangement, I think.
Yeah.
And then from there, Michael did it, all right. And then the guitar player for Michael went across town and played for Kathy Mattea, told her about it. She put it on her country Christmas record. So it was on a contemporary Christian record, a country record, and then an opera singer did it next, named Kathleen Battle. Have you ever heard of her?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Fabulous.
Christian Parkinson, who plays guitar. Anyway, they and so it went from CCM to country to opera. And did you know there is a disco version out now?
You know how many versions there are?
I don't know, but by a lady named Christine W. You can go to iTunes and Google or write it in Christine W. Mary, did you know? And there's a disco version. A friend of mine called me from the dance floor, said, Mark, one Christmas, your song's on the dance floor. And I said, does she enunciate? That's all I cared about.
That's hilarious.
I love that.
When I met you the first time, we talked a little bit about your experience with the Gaither Vocal Band. And because you were never thought about singing in a group, you've always been a solo artist, singing baritone in a group like that was something new for you.
Right.
And talk about how you dealt with that change, how you got yourself to a place where this was something that you really enjoyed, since it was something new and it wasn't something that you were used to.
Well, I loved the blend. I heard it was early on. It was me, Michael English, Terry Franklin, and Bill Gaither, and that blend. You know, sometimes I would literally stop singing because we didn't have nobody had the ear things.
Yeah.
We had monitors on the floor, and we blended ourselves. We didn't let the guy in the back there blend us. I would get next to Michael, blend his tone. Terry would blend. I mean, sometimes we would blend so well, I stopped singing to figure out which one was me.
Yeah.
I'd get lost.
Yeah.
Well, so it was fun. That was, that's fun.
Yeah.
If you've never done that, that is really fun. And straight tones, oh my gosh. When you lock in that straight tone and you hold it, there is nothing as far as oral, A-U-R, what is that? Oral, as far as sound, that you lock in that. Yeah. It's like Family Harmony does that.
Yeah.
Get those overtones and.
Yes, the Martins are amazing at that.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and it was hard and it was fun. It was especially fun developing the Mark and Bill repertoire of nonsense that was so fun that he would let, that my microphone was always on, always on. They never turned my mic off because if I think of something, I can't wait, for the sound man to, it's the moment's gone. Yeah. So Bill always let me, which was fun, I like that because there it is again, the tightrope, that whole tightrope of, I could ruin my whole career right now with one word.
That sounds to me, Mark, like that could be part of the struggle that you have to deal with in your field of ministry and doing comedy, because not everybody thinks what you say or do is funny. So sometimes you have to get that out of your head and just keep going. How do you not allow critical people to influence you?
Well, most of them, I don't even know their names. Right. And sometimes you just got to let the children play.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that from Jerry Falwell when I was at Liberty. B.R. Lakin, the old evangelist, was dying, and Jerry Falwell was being criticized for allowing Ted Kennedy to come speak at the university, right?
Huh.
And so, B.R. Lakin was over there in the bed trying to die, and Jerry was bemoaning and moaning or whatever he did, and enough to make old B.R. rear up out of his bed and say, "Jerry, let the children play. You build," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that. I heard Falwell say that in chapel.
Yeah.
And I've clung to that. The only thing that upsets me now is if they put an E in Lowry. I don't care what they say about me.
Hey, if you don't mind, I was going to ask you, one of the things that I've always noticed about your career, and you've been doing this for a long time, because you were a kid when you started singing.
Yeah.
How old were you? About 12?
Well, I signed with the Benson Company when I was 11.
11 years old.
Yeah,
So
but that's a whole nother life. It's a weird thing. From 11 to like 14, I was out traveling, singing, had a bus and all this kind of stuff. And then my voice changed, and boom, it was over, and I was back in school. And I loved it. I loved getting back to school because I'd missed the kids. Sort of like I miss people during this Corona thing,
Right. But you found another way. So this is what I want our audience to grasp. So here's you as a young child at 11 to 14 with one career.
Mm-hmm.
You take some time, you reinvent yourself as a solo artist, and then you are given an opportunity to go with Gaither. You've done videos, you've done comedy, you're doing YouTube right now. As I look at your career, you have always found a way to be relevant,
Mm-hmm.
to find ways. Now, and I know you always joke about, well, I've never had a real big idea or anything like that. But there's no way I can look at your career and say that you haven't had incredible ideas, because you have always seemed to take the lead on a lot of these things. You're one of the first to do a lot of anything. So I want to know, there has to be in your brain just some ideas and concepts and things that you're always thinking ahead. Did you always find yourself wanting to do this kind of thing?
Well, I always wanted to, I love the fact that I can reach people and I can touch them and impact their lives. I love that, especially if I can point them, nudge them a little bit towards Jesus, and to realize that he is crazy about them. That he's not mad. He's not Zeus. He's Jesus. A lot of people think Jesus is Zeus and he's ready to throw a lightning bolt at you. No, if you want to know what God's like, just look at Jesus.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is everything God had to say about himself.
There you go.
Is Jesus. And so any way I can reveal him as not the mean, anybody to love you enough to die for you is on your side.
Absolutely.
That's what I believe.
Absolutely.
And I just can't, sometimes I get weary, when people, especially parents who have children, I've never had a kid and I get this. I understand what I'm fixing to explain to you. Is the way a healthy parent loves their child. And then they think God looks at them with any less passion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you know how to show that kind of passion because you are made in his image.
Absolutely.
And you're a broken image at that, and yet, oh my gosh. And when I think of a parent, I think parents are going to have, I hope they have a greater judgment because you've experienced unconditional love.
Yeah.
You've experienced it. You know what it feels like. And for you to think you love your child more than God loves you, how rude.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
How rude of you.
Yeah.
To think you love your child more than God loves you.
Wow.
His heart skips a beat when he sees you coming.
Wow.
That's why he's watching everything. Be careful, little feet, where you go. Remember that? You know why he's watching everything you do? He loves you so much he can't take his eyes off of you.
There you go. I love
You
that.
know, it's the perfect father-child scenario is the truth
Yeah.
of our Father and us, I think.
Absolutely.
But I could be wrong. I'm a recovering fundamentalist, so.
So that makes me want to ask, what are you currently reading?
What? You know what?
I love to know that about people.
Well, I have come to realize that I'm not a very good reader.
Yeah.
I'm a better listener. I love audiobooks.
Sure. That counts.
I'm listening to one right now about a murder that happened in this neighborhood that I grew up in back when I was a kid. And I don't even remember the murder, but it happened. It was a big news thing. And so I'm listening to a book about that. Well, let's just see what else I'm listening to. Hold on. You know, I'd never even heard of a podcast till probably a couple of years ago. And someone suggested this one called Dirty John.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite.
I've
My
listened to it.
and when I realized, and I told my brother about it, and he thought they were actors, you know. And I said, no, Mike, these are the real people and I said, you just got to get to that last episode because you know what? It touched all the wrong feelings in me though, really, because I loved it. I loved it when the bad guy gets it.
Yeah.
But that's just the opposite of, you know, I guess the way we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I sure did love it when he got it. I mean, if you can watch that and not be shouting when he gets it, and I don't want to give it away, but just know that it ends well.
We know that there's a TV version of it now too.
I've seen it.
I've seen it too.
I've seen it all. And
Speaking quarantine, what's your go-to quarantine snack?
you want to see it?
Sure.
I'm gonna get it. Hold on.
He keeps it close by.
I know. There it is. Oh, okay. What is it? What do we got?
Organic animal cracker.
Crackers.
From Kroger.
Love it.
Hey, are you going to the grocery store or are you using like a personal shopper?
No, I have the Shipt, SHIPT. Have you heard of it?
Oh,
yeah, my
I
wife
do.
works for Shipt.
I had never heard of it until 2 days ago.
Wonderful.
Hey, she can come deliver your groceries for you if you'd like.
Really?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Kristen, we can talk about it afterwards if you'd
Well,
like.
somebody named Rhonda did.
I'm sure she did a great job. I don't
She
know.
dropped them on my front porch.
Yeah, they're great. Great to have.
You shipped
I mean,
yesterday.
every senior should do this. You don't have to go to the grocery store. They'll drop it on your front. It's $99 a year. It's worth it.
It really is.
All right, so I got 2 more questions, and then Jeff, you got anything else, go for it. But I've got 2 more questions I want to know, and I like asking everybody this. What is one of your all-time favorite songs and your all-time favorite singers, and why?
Oh, my gosh. Well, okay. My all-time favorite, well, I have so many. You know, that is hard. Right?
That's a tough
Singers.
one.
Male singers would be Nat King Cole. That's the voice that I love and would love to add. Or you know, I love that voice. And then female, Eva Cassidy.
Wow.
Unbelievable singer. Have you heard of her?
Yes.
Okay. Songs, you know, one of those, there's of course lyrically, the love of God, second verse to the love of God is just, makes me want to lay on the floor and bang my head against the wall. I love, I love that. Could we with ink the ocean fill, and where the skies of parchment made, where every stalk on earth a quill, and every man a scribe by trade, to write the love of God above would drain the ocean dry, nor could the scroll contain the whole, though stretched from sky to sky.
Wow.
And then
Who's the author of that?
it was found on an insane asylum wall.
Really?
Yes. That's what I heard.
Wow.
That verse, just that verse, not the rest of the song, but
Yeah.
that.
So besides animal cookies, do you have a favorite meal? I mean, just something you got to have. It reminds you of home, growing up, mama.
Meatloaf,
Yeah.
home
I mean,
cooking,
who doesn't love
mashed
a good
potatoes, Luby's,
Lubies.
Cleburne Cafeteria.
Yes. Hey, you took us to go get some pretty good fried chicken. So
Was that at
the barbecue joint you took us
Barbecue
to.
Inn? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man, that
yeah.
place was so good.
That was
That's
cool.
some of the top 10 chicken in Texas.
So good.
But Cleburne Cafeteria, man, when this Corona thing's over, we'll have to meet down there.
They have a chicken fried steak at Claiborne's that's as big as your face. It's enormous. So, what is something that people may get wrong about you? When they hear the name Mark Lowry, they assume, or they may think something that is not.
That I can't be serious, maybe?
Can you be serious?
I think I'm pretty serious. I think the humor, it helps. They both kind of walk hand in hand, because you can say a lot if you shroud it in humor.
For sure.
It's so true.
You can make people swallow it a lot easier if they're laughing.
You take some pretty serious topics and make them palatable with your humor, for sure.
Yeah, because shooting down sacred cows is fun, and they should be shot down.
Yeah,
sacred cows got to go because they block the cross. You can't see the cross if you have all those sacred cows blocking their view. And humor can do that.
Yeah,
but you just gotta, you gotta know where the line is.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't know where the line is.
Sure.
And the line moves. Through the years it moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my gosh, why'd you make me go get these?
Hey.
When I was a kid,
entertainment.
When I was a kid, and I talk about this on one of my DVDs, if you were to get a divorce, they would take you in front of the church and kick you out. If you didn't decide to stay with your spouse, right? Because divorce, it was a bad thing.
Sure.
Well, now so many people have been divorced. If we don't let them in, we won't have a crowd. And I'll go on to say in that video, God's been divorced. In Jeremiah, God divorced Israel. God couldn't pastor a Baptist church. He's been divorced. It's in the Bible. And Bill Gaither did not want me to say that. We argued round and round. I said, Bill, I didn't say it. He did. It's in Jeremiah. And he used that word, not me. I would never use that word about God, but he did about himself.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, it brought such hope to so many divorced people that think God can't use them.
Yeah.
If they've been divorced. Well, that's crazy. God doesn't have anything but sinners to work with.
Yep.
It's not like there's some perfect people over here, but no, we're all a crop of sinners. A man who says he has no sin is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Yep.
That's in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, that's the hope that we all have, the fact that each and every one of us are people who make mistakes, and we're not thrown out with the trash.
What healthy father would throw their child out with the trash?
Yeah.
Haven't you seen preachers all of a sudden their standards, everything changes when one of their kids goofs up. You know, all of a sudden it just doesn't quite look as bad as it did when the other people's kids were doing it. Well, that's a daddy. That's the daddy's heart. Why our Heavenly Father's got a heart just, I believe he does. Now, I could be wrong. We get to heaven and he's mad at everybody. Well, I'm going to hell anyway. But if he really did send his son to save the world, I'm in.
Yeah.
So as we wrap this up, we have listeners that want to know just a word of encouragement of how they can keep pursuing their big ideas, and who may have some ups and downs and some joy and also some sorrow in the process. What is a word that you can give them to just encourage them to keep doing what they're doing? Because you've been doing this a long time, and I know I look to you as a mentor type of person, and there's a lot of people that could really take something from your advice that they could use to better themselves, better their careers, or anything that they're doing in life, pursuing in life.
Well, life is short. You know that. You're going to blink, and your baby that you're holding in your arms, you'll be walking her down the aisle. It's just, life is short. Run after your passion. Hopefully, you know God through his son, the Lord Jesus, and that you have allowed him to dictate a lot of that passion. I think God places stuff in your hearts that you will pursue and is your passion. You just got to go for it. And there'll be times you'll want to quit, but you just don't. I don't know how to explain it. And when you get older, it may continue, but it will settle down a little bit. And and then you'll be glad.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But you know what? It isn't about any kind of arrival. It's about not missing the trip. It's all about the journey.
Wow.
And what God's doing in you along the way.
Yeah.
I love that.
And things that look like brick walls are really nothing but speed bumps on your journey. And you'll look back. I don't care what it is. If it kills you, of course, then the journey's over. But if you're still standing, the journey is still proceeding, and it was a speed bump. It was not a brick wall.
Yeah.
I've had things I thought, well, this is it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But God said, no, it ain't it. Till he decides it's it.
It's a good word.
That's what I like about him being the daddy and me being the kid. Just because I don't understand the mortgage don't mean I can't live in the house.
Wow.
His family.
I loved that interview, guys. Like, he's just such a fun person. Like, I have to say, Mark Lowry was the reason why I started doing this. Like, the whole reason I started singing, talk, all of it. Like, I just wanted to be Mark Lowry. So it was really cool to get to watch you guys talk to him today.
Yeah, and he's such a personable guy and so kind and down to earth. Man, the one thing that I just can't get over that he brought up is how he wrote the lyrics to Mary Did You Know and then sat on them for, I think, 7 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Before there was any music to it, before anything ever really came of it.
Right.
And just makes me think about all the people that have written something and have not yet done something with it.
Right.
Like, how many of us are walking around with a note in our iPhone of just, maybe it's a lyric or a thought or a book idea or some sort of creative idea that we've thought about, and it's just been sitting on the side for a little while, and we have no idea what could come of that idea down the road when maybe somebody else comes along and picks it up and does something else with it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's something I can't stop thinking about.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and if you'd like to hear more of these, please go ahead and share these with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and also, if you'd like some bonus footage, some exclusive content from VeriTalks, go ahead and sign up for our Patreon. Help support us on there, and we've got some really fun stuff up there for you guys, and I hope you're enjoying these VeriTalks.
That's right. And if you guys don't already, please go to our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, and hit the follow button. And we're so grateful that you guys tuned in for this episode. We hope you'll tune in next week. And here is to your next big idea.
Bum 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 bum.